Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Good Morning Sunshine. I'm one of your co-hosts, Brandon Lee, alongside my co-host, Carrie Pena. I love the episode we're going to be talking about today. You've done a whole podcast series on Childhelp here in Arizona. What's that been like for you, Childhelp?
What the work Childhelp is doing is incredible, both here in Arizona and nationwide, to protect children and the rights of children. And the guest we have today is talking about the work at the Advocacy Center, which is unique here. And they are building nationwide programs that emulate this because it is so special. And Ken, we want to thank you so much, Ken McKinley, for being here. You're the director of the Advocacy Center, and we appreciate you coming into the studio.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I'll say this. I love the podcast series that you've been doing with Childhelp. It's so impactful and it's so powerful because you're really interviewing and going into depth on people who've had the unfortunate experience of experienced childhood trauma and a lot of child sex abuse. They're adults now, right? And being able to share their own perseverance, how they've been able to heal from that to give hope and inspiration to so many other adults out there who've also experienced that, but have kept that, our hidden secret. It's a powerful podcast. So, kudos to you guys and your team about what you guys have created. It's really powerful stuff. I'll say this, Ken, I appreciate that Childhelp is here. I also hate the fact that Childhelp is here. It's needed in our community, and I don't think we talk a lot about the impact of how much sex abuse and abuse and neglect happens within our communities. And Childhelp is there from the very beginning. And I want to spend the opening kind of few minutes here, really kind of explaining to people who may have seen. You guys do a great job with your branding. They see Childhelp, but really kind of help our viewers and our listeners really better understand what is Childhelp and what are some of the services that you provide from day one when a crisis hits a family.
Yeah. So the Advocacy Center is a program of Childhelp, and we've been here since 1998. And we are a safe, supportive, very, very child-friendly place where children who are suspected victims of abuse or witnesses to violence come to start the criminal investigative and also their healing journey process. And so we're really a one-stop shop. And we do that by using a multidisciplinary team model. So that means all of the partner agencies that are involved when a child abuse case is investigated is all co-located here at our center. And, so that way a child doesn't have to go to all these different places. So we provide the medical care, the mental health treatment, the victim advocacy support, forensic interviewing, prosecution. There's so much that goes involved. And we're all there under one roof. And we see about 400 kids a month.
I mean, that number is, to me, it's shocking. I know you're in it day in, day out, but that seems so shocking.
Divide that number by average of 30,
yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot every single day.
How do you deal with that for you personally? Like, how does this work impact your life?
Well, it comes from my own lived experience too, and my own calling. And I love being the helper in a helping profession. And for me, that feels like I can do something. Can't control everything, can't always stop everything, but being an actual helper and being able to do something tangibly on a day in and day out really helps me through that vicarious trauma. And I spend my day doing it. I don't bring it home.
Yeah, that's a trained skill.
It absolutely is.
To not bring that home. And I'm sure there was parts of your career where you did bring it home. And then we seek counseling to figure out how to be empathetic and compassionate when it comes to behavioral health. And in these cases and the stories that you hear every day, it's hard not to take some of that home and just to be even thinking about the child who walked into the place. I was able to tour the Advocacy Center recently, and I really want to give people a better description of kind of what it's like there. And when you say it's a one-stop shop, it really is. There's so many incredible partnerships all under one roof and in one building. So you've got the Maricopa County Attorney's Office who is there, who's prosecuting all of these cases. You have an entire Phoenix Police Department subdivision. You wouldn't even know that there's police officers there the way you guys have it designed, which is really important. Police still very intimidating.
We don't want
anybody.
it to feel like the old days where they're going to the police station to talk about their abuse.
And so you're touring this place, you never even see this massive police station that's there. It wasn't until I toured the Advocacy Center that I really got to see how important the work was that you guys are doing.
Everything we do is aimed at reducing the trauma of the experience. And while they're there, the more comfortable they are, the more free they are to really share their story. And that's why Childhelp came about. To think about it, before Childhelp, a kid would have to go to all these different places, retell their story over and over again. The stories could change. The communications between the partner when you're not co-located under a building, that changes everything. The communication's better, the rapport building's better, and we're all there. And so that's the neat thing about Childhelp is that through the vision of our founders, Sarah Mayer and Yvonne Feddersen, they brought all these things together under one roof, and it increases prosecution outcomes, overall client satisfaction, and caregivers, which is what it's all about. So,
Talk about the importance of advocating for the voices of children and making sure those voices are heard.
We believe the children are so resilient, and you have to have that belief, and everyone has someone that loves them. Even if you have a bad home environment or something, our goal is to help them connect with their healthy support system and community, and understand they're very, very resilient, and anybody can heal. And we're upfront about it, and we're in it with them for the long run. And the thing that I think gives me a lot of joy is that we stop cycles too. If we can help one kid, we can maybe help how many other, involved in their families or from whatever. That to me gives me just so much hope and happiness. And it starts with each individual person. Yeah.
I think too, it's about removing the barriers. And I think one of the important things is to let the community know is that Childhelp wants to remove any barriers to providing justice and healing to your family. And one of the things that I learned recently was y'all will just get them a hotel and get them to the mother and the children to stay there in a safe environment until you're able to connect them with outside resources who then can take in that family to provide that further care, just so again that the needs are met first to get the child out of an unsafe environment.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, when a kid walks through our doors, that's the first thing for everything. So we all need time. It's maybe the first time that mother even knew of something. Her crisis in and of herself, So it's all just unfolding right there. And so the people who work there are very, that's why it takes a comprehensive team. And, we try to figure out whatever we can do, because it doesn't mean that's a suspect. It's just a suspect. They may not be jailed right away. You know what I mean? It could, or never. So, and that's another part of the work that we do, is helping a family through the process, the criminal justice process too, and the support there, the emotional support that it takes. And so it's many, many things. And it could be other things like helping them get into a new place. So we pay their first month's rent, or, little things like, school's happening, or Christmas is around the corner. We've got tons of brand new toys and clothes. Let's make a Christmas for you. There's so many different things that we can do to help support these families and bring a little joy.
Can you just talk about how this was a unique center here in Phoenix, and now nationally the eyes are on you?
Yeah. And actually it's internationally too.
Yeah,
and actually,
internationally. Thank you. Yes.
Interpol just reached out and said, hey, would you like to come and talk about this to other nations where they are struggling with their protocol and response to child abuse? And so, yes, it's actually an international best practice. It's an accreditation practice, and people have come to the center to see what we do, and then they've gone home and replicated it. There are many, many, many child advocacy centers now. But I do want to say this though: 70% of the counties in this country still don't have access to a child advocacy center, and we know child abuse happens everywhere. So there's still more to do.
But there is movement in this space. Don't you feel it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there has been, for a while now too. So, and like I said, it's now a known best practice, evidence-based practice. So, and it was created right here. So, it's really quite amazing. And we keep trying to figure out how can we make things better? Because the whole thing is putting the child victim first.
Yes.
And most systems are set up and designed in such a way that causes them sometimes more harm than what they, than what they did. So, really for us, it's that trauma care and customer victim forward services. And we see everything they need through their eyes. They decide their course of treatment. They decide what they want to do because they're the experts on their own life.
Yes.
It's also important to know that it's not just a crisis center at point of contact when a crisis happens, is that you guys are going beyond providing therapeutic programming to these families to keep them connected to Childhelp, but also understanding that it's a long road to recovery and handling that trauma and helping the child be able to process that trauma, but also the trauma happens to others, members of the family, even just knowing about it or even witnessing the event, even though they may not have been the actual victim in that case.
Sure.
And, mom needs therapy, right? And so you guys offer those therapeutic programming services.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, caretakers often, we do family and group and all that sort of stuff. But sometimes a caretaker, because we know it's oftentimes intergenerational, that caretaker may need to process their own. And so instead of them waiting in a lobby while their child's on therapy, we give them individual therapy too. And so, looking at it from more of a systemic, viewpoint. And we also are out there in the community prevention because we want to prevent it before it starts.
Yes.
So what people don't know about us too is we are out there in the community doing workshops with parents, protective factors, and it helps people look at these are our risk factors. These are things that lead cause tension in the system, but we believe every family does have their own positive special things, and we try to bring that out. So we're doing parenting groups and education, resource fairs, all that kind of stuff in the community as well.
God, even thinking about prevention when it comes to child abuse and neglect, but then sex abuse is so hard to prevent, child sex abuse. How do you begin to prevent that type of stuff from happening? Because it's so often when it comes to child sex abuse, it often is a member of the family or a very close family friend.
Yeah. And again, I want to go back to it stops. There's that one person. I'll self-disclose in my life. My mom realized it was, this was going on, this was bad, but she stopped it and said, no, this was wrong. And it's kind of like a light is shown in this kind of system.
Right.
And, it can start there. And that, like I was saying earlier, can lead to positive changes for a long time. It's about doing community education and awareness. It's about teaching young kids, hey, this is good, touch, bad touch. We have Childhelp has an the only evidence-based, child abuse prevention curriculum that goes into the schools and talks to children. And it's about caretakers knowing the signs and symptoms of abuse, not to become paranoid or suspicious of anybody, but just understanding.
To pay attention.
Yeah,
right.
To pay attention and understand the differences and what this could mean and that sort of thing. And we have services and stuff like that to help parents with that too.
Remove shame too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
I think that's...
Oh, thank you for saying that.
Just remove shame, because that prevents so many people from... saying it, a mom will take on the burden of shame if she feels that her child has been abused, that she wasn't able to protect them.
Can I just say something of that? That's probably one of the most important things that our victim advocates do. They don't just, they provide resources, do a needs assessment, but really when the caregiver, this could be the worst day of their life, or they're discovering stuff themselves. And you hear the guilt and the shame and how could I, and it's really about them holding that space and providing that emotional support and kind of validating them and saying, okay, where are we going to go from here? But it's really about providing that emotional support. It's a lot of what we do.
Yeah. You've been on your own healing journey.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you're running this advocacy center so beautifully. And as Brandon noted, that, the podcast series that we do with Childhelp, Dare to Care Survivor Series, where we profile folks who've walked through really some horrific circumstances. But the point of it is that healing can always happen.
Absolutely.
We had a gentleman the other day who's in his 60s and his healing journey and sobriety journey just started somewhat recently. And I just thought it was incredible to hear him talk about how he never gave up on that. And he kept working on himself and paying tribute and honoring his inner child. I just think that that's really powerful, and the work that you all do is so incredible, Ken. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks.
And how can people find out more and maybe get involved or just learn more about your work?
Oh, sure. Well, we can go to our website at childhelp.org. But, other ways that people can get involved, there's always volunteer opportunities. We have a local Phoenix Wings chapter. So that's one way to get involved if you want to, get your hands, involved more. every kid who comes there for the first time, they leave with a brand new toy. We have brand new clothes, things that they need that they leave with. And so we're always in need of brand new toys. Donate brand new toys, clothes, hygiene, back to school supplies, car seats. We believe in dignity, and so everything's brand new. And we expect those donations. So that's another way. And just, or, being more aware of, the educating yourself on how, child abuse and child maltreatment affects our community and what we can do about it.
Yeah, I will just, before we close here, just say that when I was touring, being able to go into the supply closet, where you have all the toys, but then you have a full closet. It is, and it's all brand new clothes. And I love that. And they're just like, listen, if a family comes to us and they have to leave the house, we will give them a full week's clothes so that they don't have to worry about it. They get new clothes when they walk out of here so that they can go to school and not wear the same thing every day. Again, not rooted in shame, right? It's really cool what you guys are doing, and really a call to action to anybody who's watching or listening. Go to childhelp.org and ask them. If you can't be there to volunteer, you can always donate new clothes, any ages from, infants all the way up to teenagers. Any little bit helps. And while you're here watching this episode of Good Morning Sunshine, go ahead and hit that little notification symbol, and we'll alert you every time we upload a new episode.
Thanks for watching and listening. I love the tagline. We believe in dignity. And you rock. Thanks, everyone. Take good care.